Hello, this is a summary of all the technological frameworks, as well as how the implementation of technology has evolved through the different frameworks. So, starting off, I will start off with the SAMR, or the Substitution, Augmentation, Modification, Redefinition. So, this framework is a simple model to follow. A teacher can easily plug specific technology tools into the model's various levels. It's helpful in explaining how the technology is utilized differently than traditional teaching tools and how sometimes it can change the nature of the lesson itself. The SAMR is based on four types of technology use. Substitution is when the teacher considers whether the technology is being used to substitute a traditional tool like a digital whiteboard. Augmentation is when the teacher considers if the technology is used to augment a traditional activity, like using an iPad to draw something. Modification is when the teacher considers whether the technology tool is being used to modify a traditional classroom tool or task, like using Google Class for a collaborative assignment. And redefinition changes the actual task completely as a result of the technological tool. There are some issues with this framework, however. There's confusion concerning whether the model is meant to be a hierarchy of levels or a straight line with no hierarchy and just categories. Also, it does not directly address how the learning goals play a role in the technological choice. Um, with all these frameworks, they all tie into the Triple E framework, which is basically like a more refined model of all the different frameworks that I will be discussing. So for for the Triple E, it took this framework and it helps extend the SAMR model by connecting the technological tools educators choose for their classroom with the learning outcomes produced by using those tools. And you can see it ties right in with the Triple E. The next framework will be the TPAC, the Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge. So it was developed around 2005, 2006 by Punya Mishra and Matthew Kohler at Michigan State University. It asks educators to use their content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and technology knowledge to guide their students in meeting specific classroom learning goals. Also, it's a useful model for thinking about the big picture of what a teacher needs to know in order to better integrate technology. Builds pedagogical structures around technology tools instead of having students using them in isolation. There are problems as well with this one. Puts technological tool first, lack of information of how tools can transform content and pedagogy, needs addition of a practical tool to help teachers make transparent connections between effective pedagogical moves and content and technology. And once again, this is where the Triple E built upon this framework and created based on this need to extend TPAC to a measurable framework. So it added a measurable framework that the TPAC was lacking. The next framework is TIM, or the Technological Integration Matrix. Excuse me. This framework is developed around. It was developed around 2005 by a team by a team at the University of South Florida College of Education. There is 5 characteristics of meaningful learning environments with this framework, which is active, constructive, goal-directed, authentic, and collaborative. There's also 5 levels of technology integration: entry, adaption, infusion, and transformation, all to reach the goal, which is right here, which is reaching the transformation level of technology integration, and meeting all 5 characteristics of a meaningful learning environment. This is a measurable guide for educators integrating technology. Main focus of TIM is not on the learning goals, but rather on how the technology is used with students and if the tools are integrated in a sophisticated way. This one also has some problems. The first one is focus. The focus is on the tool. So focus on the tool first and student second, which is a problem. The 5 levels and 5 types of measurements are nuanced, like there's not that much distinction between them. And this makes, according to the book, making this model more cumbersome and time consuming when evaluating the technology use. Another issue would be difficult to measure how effective the technology is at meeting the content specific learning goals and outcomes. Once again, that's when Triple E comes in and builds upon that framework to make it something better. It helps extend this model by integrating some of the meaningful learning strategies from the model into a framework that also looks at how these strategies are used to meet targeted learning goals. Excuse me, I can't talk today. And yeah, so those are the frameworks: the SAMR, the TPAC, the TIM, and all these come together to make the Triple E, which in the Triple E, it focuses on integrating the current research on characteristics of effective teaching and learning with strategies with technology tools. It focused specifically on how the technology is meeting the needs of the learner. It's user friendly for a quick evaluation, be able to evaluate both lesson plans and technology tools, looking for effective learning strategies built into both. Consider and leave room for pedagogical strategies to work with technology tools rather than looking it's a little looking at them in isolation is what that says. I'm very sure. But yes, that is a summary of chapter 2 of our book and all the different frameworks and how Triple E took a little bit of all those frameworks, made it into something more whole, more effective. Thank you.